another Week 4 film review, and we're back talking about the Eagles.
Yes,
Because
we
the
are.
Eagles fans, they love the effort right now, Chris, from you. This one from Chrono Sonder 36. Great show. Nobody can truly say Chris Simms doesn't put in the work. Go Birds. We talked about last week what the Eagles did right in the second half.
Yeah.
This week, it feels like we have to talk about what went wrong in the second half against the Bucs, where it got to be scary hours real quick. They held on.
Yeah.
But the offense, you don't see an offense just disappear like this in the NFL very often, especially from a team that is excellent.
It's amazing. It's frustrating. It's crazy.
I just want to know like the why.
Yeah.
Because I can't wrap my head around this.
I know. We're going to get into all this. And I appreciate Chrono Sonder 36 saying that, because I do have definitely I have Eagles fans that come up to me and go, man, I hated you because I heard stuff you said about Jalen Hurts, but I had friends that told me to listen to your pod and you've explained things, so now I listen to you and I think you're awesome and blah, blah, blah. I have that. And then, of course, I have majority of Eagles fans that just tell me I suck and I should quit my job and you don't know what the you're talking about and all that, and they don't want to hear it. And as I say to some of them times, I go, nobody speaks more highly of the Eagles than I do. Nobody thinks more highly of the Eagles. I feel like I'm the only person in sports media last year that was like week 9, I was like, the Eagles are going to win the Super Bowl. Plain and simple. They are by far the best team in the game. But within that, yeah, you know me. I mean, I'm going to keep it real and 100 in what I see, and they make you want to pull their hair out. As an ex-quarterback and as other quarterbacks in football would go, oh, my gosh, could I play on the Eagles offense with all the support they have there? And yet they can't do jack diddly squat. In the year 2025, 0 yards in the second half passing in a football game with 2 superstar receivers, a damn good tight end, and Saquon Barkley at your running back. It's almost impossible to do. That's almost impossible. So, yeah, that is insane in itself. And then within that, they score 31 points as a football team. So it just tells you how good they are. It's crazy. But, yeah, we're going to break some of this down, and I think I got some good thoughts for you as we go here.
My positive is the Eagles show you week in and week out they can win in any way possible.
That's right.
Like they can win on their special teams. They can win with the run game. They can win with a defensive turnover. They can win throwing the ball.
Yeah.
But you're right, Chris, where you look at this and you go just, 1, how does this happen? And 2, is this a long-term issue, or was this just something where everything fell apart at once? And they struggle with the in-the-moment adjustments rather than the week-to-week adjustments.
I think that's it. That's the point. And, yeah, they can win throwing the ball, but it's too few and far between. That's the problem. And it's too all over the place. And they make games a lot closer than they need to be. And I think that's the big thing. But I think what you just said right there is really the big thing. It's like they're good figuring out how they want to attack a team throughout the week. But when they get that first few curveballs, maybe early in a game or later in the game, there's not much adjustment. There's not many avenues they go to figure out a new way to attack. There's not a lot of plays in their playbook. They're not. So because of that, yes, I think it's a little hard for them to adjust. They kind of do what they do on that side of the ball. But what a week does for them is they can figure out, wait, this team likes to play like this. We can figure out how to package some plays that make sense within our simplicity. But the problem is when they get a few curveballs, it's all of a sudden like, uh-oh, like we're not the type of offense and Jalen's not the type of quarterback that's just going to get us in and out of good plays, and we don't have a variety of plays that we can get to. And a lot of that is because of the quarterback. That's just the plain and simple fact of nature here. So, yeah, wow, was this bad offense. Early on, right, the Eagles were ready for the blitz. They're playing the Buccaneers. If you play the Buccaneers and Todd Bowles, you got to be ready for that. And you don't think they know that? And also, they've struggled against the Buccaneers. Everybody talked about that last week. Why? Because Jalen Hurts has struggled against the blitz when it comes to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So they had a plan to start the game. They were good at it. And one of the things they did early on was, blitzing, some short crossers and all that, but they sent all 5 eligibles out. They were like, hey, let's not even keep Saquon in. They're going to blitz anyways. Let's just get them out. And all of a sudden, it's like, wait, we blitzed 6 and we only got 5 guys to cover. And wait, we didn't think this guy was going to have to cover the back. We thought he was going to help out in the pass protection, right? We had a guy in the middle of the field for the 4 receivers because we thought Saquon was going to help out with the blocking. Oh, no, Saquon's out in the edge. We have nobody to cover him. I was just told to play the middle of the field. I was told Saquon was going to block in these situations. We weren't ready for that. So that's a little bit what happened early on. They did free releasers, and they did 6- and 7-man protections. They went, okay, you want to blitz? We'll protect.
Right.
We'll find a way to throw the ball with a 2- or 3-man route and work it that way. And so that was all good. But as I said on Sunday night with Devin McCourty, and what it looked like on TV to me was right? And, like you heard me say, when they blitz, they get to the shallow crossers. That's an answer. Or they're pick crossers. Or they just clear everybody out and somebody runs a shallow crosser underneath, right? That's kind of what they do. But second quarter, the Bucs were like, hey, that. We're getting crushed with the blitz. They got an answer today. They're ready for it. And they stopped doing that, and they started rushing 4 and playing coverage, and the Eagles were like,
now what?
What do we do? I don't know what to do now. And it totally changed the whole dynamic of the football game.
Listen to the defensive coverage schemes in the second half from the Bucs.
Yeah, I would love to
it's
hear
the
it.
most basic as ever. You talked about in the first half how they were more aggressive. They blitz, especially in the first quarter. I saw they ran a lot of cover 1 and cover 0.
Okay.
Second half, the Bucs ran cover 0 once. I think that was their only blitz. They never ran cover 1 in the second half ever. They ran either cover 3 or cover 4 74% of the time.
So it looked like.
I mean, running cover 3 at that rate in today's NFL is almost unheard of because most teams can kind of just pick it apart, be patient with it.
Right.
Todd Bowles totally put the brakes on the blitz and said, we're just going to sit and play coverage.
Right.
At the purest, most basic football form.
And in the second quarter, that when they started to dive in, they were still running crossers, and all of a sudden it was like, oh, shit, wait, nobody.
Running into the coverage.
You're running into the coverage. There's people waiting for you. Nobody's following you anymore. That doesn't work. So, yeah, there's those answers. That was a total curveball for them. And they're not the type of offense, as we all know, that's like a surgical offense. When they are at their best, it is you allow them to go one-on-one shots. Like we saw in the Super Bowl against the Chiefs, like we saw against Washington in the NFC Championship game, who plays man-to-man a ton, right? Or last week against the Rams in the second half, when it became basically man-to-man on the outside. That's kind of their success when it comes to the passing game. When teams have been able to play zones and intricate zones and do that type of stuff, right? That is when they are not impressive. And that's when they're not capable of being surgical. And the system's not there and the quarterback's not there to do that. So with all that, that leads to really underwhelming play and stale moments where you just go, I can't believe they're this good and they throw the ball this shitty on that side of the ball. It's shocking. So that's the big thing. All right, so here, second quarter, Bucs play more coverage, nothing there. But a few times, Hurts bought some times, and he found some completions. Okay, that was the second quarter. And the other problem was the Bucs didn't stay in their rush lanes a few times in the second quarter. So that led to some drives by the Eagles, even though the passing game wasn't functioning at a high level, right? Second half, that's changed a little bit. They did slow down. They did more of blitz 1, drop 1, stuff like that. And they did close down the running lanes for Jalen Hurts to a degree. All right? You're going to see, I wrote next in my notes, I feel bad for A.J. Brown. He's given no chance. There's no plays given to him. People look at it and go, oh, well, he had all these targets. His targets were bullshit. They're bullshit. He caught a slant. He caught a screen 2 yards behind the line of scrimmage. He got crushed as soon as he caught it. All the other plays were just, hey, I'm going to throw it up. I hope you can catch it for me. Hey, I'm going to throw it up again. And when he threw it up, Jalen Hurts, he didn't even give him a chance to catch it. So there is the offense for one of the more talented receivers in football. We don't really do anything to help him, like we've talked about in other podcasts with Puka Nacua or Justin Jefferson
move
him around. They do nothing for him. Nothing. He becomes actually the de facto, wait, I don't know what to do. Let me just throw it to you guy. And so I understand why he's frustrated there. Now, it doesn't mean he should go to Twitter and say some of the things he said, but either way, the fact that they can't get him the ball, design some plays, and throw him the ball on the regular is absolutely freaking crazy. And that is not only on Jalen Hurts, that's on the Eagles' offensive coaches to go along with that.
It's wild when you look at his receiving depth chart this year. So they've played 4 games.
Right.
He has 10 targets beyond 9 yards.
Yeah, it's crazy.
He has 10, and he's caught 4 of them. But they're like 10 to 19 yards, he has 4 targets. You would think he's one of the best intermediate to deep receivers in the game. He doesn't get any chances.
No, he does not get any chances. That's not a strength of again, like we were talking about, when teams play zone and stuff like that, Hurts is not the kind of guy that threads the needle, throws the ball into a window for a deep in cut or a deep cross. He throws those kind of routes when it's man-to-man, and those guys beat the people so bad, and there's really not much to read, and he just goes, wait, AJ's beating that guy, now I can throw to him. Or AJ, right, is on the outside, and he ran a curl route like he did last week against the Rams, but they're so afraid he's just going to run by them that they back off, and we throw a curl route, and then he breaks the tackles, and he goes and does that way, right? So that's where it's crazy. I mean, yeah, the second half, all coverage, like you talked about, you explained it perfectly for me, and the four-man rushes, the blitz one, the drop one, right? And then we're still in the second half, and they're still calling the blitz type of plays there. So, yeah, lack of adjustment by the players, and they don't do much at the line of scrimmage as far as changing
That's
plays.
what I wanted to ask.
Right.
Do they go when they go up there, do they do less than the average in terms of smoking something out or seeing something out and changing the play?
Yes.
That's kind of shocking for a veteran quarterback.
Yes, I know.
With all that talent.
I know. And that's where, yeah, he's not on the level of people like Lamar or Mahomes or Josh Allen or even Jaden Daniels and some of those guys that do stuff at the line of scrimmage. Listen, this offense, what they have with Nick Sirianni, I've seen Nick Sirianni be an offensive coordinator. He has more plays than this,
Right.
guys. This is not – he's there. So you guys make the conclusion, right, what it is. Anybody in football that's been around the Eagles or knows anything about the Eagles would tell you that the quarterback there does not want to do anything. He wants the offense simple. That's the way it is. He wants it like that. I've had everybody tell me that. People in the Eagles organization, people that used to work in the Eagles organization that are somewhere else now, or people that are in other teams in the NFL who know somebody in the Eagles organization, and they tell me that too. So that's the plain and simple matter. The fact of the matter is, yeah, they're not crazy creative on offense. They're not. And you certainly can get on the offensive coaches to come up with some better game plans too. But the quarterback is also part of that. He's also part of that conversation and limiting them with what they want to do in the game plan, and then not being a guy that is doing a lot at the line of scrimmage compared to the other high top offenses in football. And that is what's holding them back ultimately. And that's why Chrono Saunders 36, I will have more Eagles hate on my social media tonight, because I try to tell you the reasons and people just don't want to hear it. Or there's a group of people, especially Eagles fans, that don't want to hear that truth right there. And I'm sorry, I'm not going to ever hide from the truth that way.
The Eagles somehow are 4-0 despite being outgained in all 4 games.
It's crazy.
They are the second team over the past 90 years to do that. The only other team was the 2012 Cardinals. That was Ken Wisenhunt's last year.
Right.
They went 5-11. So I think it's kind of a glass half full, glass half empty situation. It starts with what I open with. The glass half full is it's mind-blowing the way the Eagles can win.
Exactly.
And it speaks to how great of a team they are.
Exactly right.
It really does.
Right.
The glass half empty is, does it ever catch up to you at the worst time?
That's the problem.
Where like they steamroll most people they play this year,
Right.
but then you get to the divisional round or the NFC Championship,
That's-
and you're like, shit, we talked about that after week 4.
Especially if the run game doesn't get going too, right? So they've been able to get away with this last year in a Super Bowl because they were setting records as a running team. So that was okay. But the run game also lacks some of the stuff we've talked about. They don't do much as far as schematically, and I don't think they like check into certain runs. They're like, hey, we're going to run this, but wait, they're playing this defense. Let's check to the other run. That makes sense the other side because they've loaded this side. So there's a little of that missing. And that's the big question. They're going to get away with it against a lot of teams in football. The point, and this is McCourty brought this point up, I think even on Football Night in America on Sunday, is it sustainable? Are you going to beat the best teams in the league that way? And I don't know about that. That's what we're going to see. Can they beat Detroit that way?
So November, we
to?
get our answer.
Right.
They go to Green Bay November 10th. They play at home against Detroit November 16th.
Right. So we'll get
That's
to
a good
see.
measuring
We'll
stick
have a
for
little
them.
more inkling there. Right. That's when we'll start to get a feel for it. Yeah. I mean, this might be a week. Maybe this is a week it starts to become hard. We know the Broncos and what they do. The Broncos are good on defense. The Broncos offense, it's going to have good ideas on how to attack Philly's defense. So it's not like it's going to be, we can just dominate with our defense and special teams and win this one. This is a game I look at to be like, no, no, there better be some completeness here or you're going to lose, right? Tampa Bay, if they were full strength, if they don't, Bucky Irvin doesn't fumble the ball, if they don't have a punt blocked, right, you sit there and go, no, the Buccaneers can every bit have been the team that maybe tested them and exposed it a little bit, and it did. Still, in the second half, we're talking about it here, right? But, yeah, I don't know if they can get away with it against the upper echelons.
There it is.
Of the NFL.
Shout out to the upper echelons.
Yo, homies, it's time to watch some games. That's right. We're on to the NFL season here with Chris Simms Unbuttoned.
Hit subscribe to get our weekly picks, Sunday night recaps after every game, and much, much more.
Thanks for watching. Peace out, homies. Remember, subscribe. Peace out.